Welcome to Plausible Foolishness. We are the two kings of the Rube Empire, right-wing extremists extraordinaire, enemies of the state, the deep underground military complex, enemies of the New World Order and the Satanic Cabal. I am the Philosopher King, the Ivory Tower, and I've got a perspective on things.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the greatest moment of your life. You get to stand before sheer, unadulterated imperfection in the Iron King myself. I am the Iron King, the man, the myth, the legend, the people's champ, the people's choice, the master of disaster, the king of sting. And I have nothing else to rhyme with, so I'll just say this. I have a perspective on things, and unfortunately, in God's sovereignty, I don't understand why I have to share space, breath, oxygen with this guy, but unfortunately, I have to give that up for him. But give it up to our kick-ass dudes.
I'll tell you why you have to share this space with me. Because I'm the producer. I am the kick-ass Duke. Watch it. And I have a perspective on things. And by the way, you forgot to say the one thing that's most important. Because I am the Dusty.
He didn't. When he gets really loud, his mic cuts out.
Me?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Okay,
so when you do your Dusty, it goes, duh.
Let me go longer.
And cuts out.
There you go.
Was that better?
Yeah.
See, when I get really excited, I added syllables. I was going, Dusty. Did you hear any of that or not?
We did that time, but not the first time.
Okay.
Also, when you do a liberal logic, it goes to it
like I have to go liberal logic, so I can't go liberal logic.
You can, just not so loud. It's like the volume in your mic cuts it.
And listen, man,
it peaks out and then it collapses.
It's not that good of a mic if it can't pick up my intensity.
No,
okay.
I mean, we got to work on getting you somehow a mic set up. So that
listen, dog.
Listen, what would be really awesome is if we were all in a studio together.
Wow.
And we didn't have to. No, I'm not.
Wow. That would be
listen,
nice.
No. I'm not. That's not a diss on anybody. We have really good reasons for why we do it remotely. I'm just saying, like, someday we're gonna take this. Hey, I got good news. We had 91 downloads of the last episode that I posted to the podcast over 1 month.
What?
Yeah, I was really surprised to see that
fantastic.
number. And that episode, it was like 5 episodes ago, because I've been a little distracted in getting the episodes up, which I apologize to all our faithful listeners for. This episode I plan on getting up tonight.
Wow.
But yeah, well, I mean, I've been trying to sell a house, so I've been a little bit busy. But
what a weak excuse, bro. I mean,
I don't care.
Come on.
I don't care.
Come on, man. Come on.
I don't care. Seeing as how I do everything,
bro.
Whatever.
Listen. Yeah, I mean, you right.
Well, if I didn't have to drive 55 minutes just to get to your house, I mean,
well,
you could bring your house to me, and we could save all that trouble.
You live all the way in BFE, so too.
No, you live all the way in BFE. I live in north of Orlando.
Okay. We both live in BFE, and he's the only one who lives in actual Orlando.
That's true.
Anyway,
listen,
so
it's because I'm the centrist. I'm the centrist of this group, right? I'm the centrist.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
We both know it's Dusty. That's the centrist.
I'm not the centrist. I'm just the voice of reason here.
Well,
yeah, I think Dusty's the closest to the center. I think you're a little bit farther from the center, Matt, and then I'm just.
Oh, he's full anarchist. That's all.
Well, no, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not. I'm not full anarchist.
You-
I just think that some of their arguments have merit, but I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't fully adopted it. I still have questions, like the question of how do you enforce contracts is a great question that I still haven't gotten answered yet. You know.
Interesting. Interesting.
Um,
So
but I
I
am
got
very far, like freedom. When we can talk about
Well,
this a little bit more today
I
too.
think we can
well,
all agree liberty and personal freedom is the center point that all of us agree on.
yeah,
Yes,
I'd agree.
definitely.
Okay.
Unless
That
when it
is our
comes to
common ground in this show is personal liberty and personal freedom
And Christ
is the
being king.
cornerstone to all of our political views. Now, the linchpin to all of us is our faith in Christ.
Yes.
So,
listen, as much as I like to disagree with Dusty, unfortunately, I have to agree with him on that point. But listen, every once in a while, a blind squirrel finds a nut. It is what it is, man. So, real quick,
I
before
found
we get
too.
going, I do have to say something. Um, an American icon has retired this week, and I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge that on the show today. Vincent Kennedy McMahon himself has retired from the WWE, stepping down from his chairman position, CEO position of the company. Now, much can be said over the last 15 years that he has not been, how should I say this, on the ball when it comes to the creative, but
Yet still in
the
charge.
amount, yes, the amount of, how do I say this, the trash talk, intensity, angst, entertainment, joy from this generation definitely comes partly from that man. I mean, let's get real. No Attitude Era in wrestling. You're not going to have the. Listen, you don't have The Rock without Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Let's get real, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have Black Adam that's coming out that actually looks okay as a movie. I'm still nervous. It's DC, but it's not. Who's the horrible Batman right now that they had or they replaced? Not the new one, but the one before that.
Ben
Ben
Affleck.
The
Affleck.
Sparkle guy.
Yeah, Ben. Yeah. Anyway, but no, I'm a little. You don't have that without. You don't have Stone Cold Steve Austin. You don't have Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker. Yeah.
Yeah.
You still have Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan. You don't have that without Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and that's such a big part of our pop culture. So I will give him a lot of kudos, which leads me to the question that I'm going to ask Matt to start the show. Uh, Vincent obviously evolved throughout his entire career as a creative. How have you evolved? I hate using that word. Never mind. How have you sanctified yourself through the process of plausible foolishness? I mean, how have things changed from episode 1 to what are we, 271 now of the show?
Yeah.
271? My goodness.
I'm definitely much more
What's changed?
comfortable. You know, actually doing this. Oddly enough, I'm more comfortable doing this by myself. And what I mean is, like, there's been episodes where you guys weren't available, and in most of the cases, sometimes we just were like, yeah, I'm just gonna cancel it. But most of the cases, I did it by myself. And the first time I had to do it by myself, I was like, this is gonna suck so bad. And now I'm much more comfortable doing that, and just um, I'm much more comfortable winging it than I was, because just necessity has. I don't like to wing it, you know.
Of course.
And I want the show
Yeah.
to be one where we're. I mean, we all, during the week, make ourselves be informed, right?
Yeah.
But I would like to have the opportunity to go deeper, were this, more than just a side endeavor for us, So that's something that we want in the future, to have our own fact checkers and things like that. That would be amazing. But for now, it's just us, and pulling what we can from the week, and then coming on here and chewing the fat about it. And I'm much more comfortable doing that, and and I'm still enjoying it. I don't know. There's lots more creative stuff that I would like to do. Time and money is always the enemy. But yeah, that's where I'm sitting at.
Nice.
What about
Dusty,
you?
how have you say? How about you, Big Dusty, the Dust Bowl himself? What do you got, man?
The Dust
So
Bowl.
let's take this back a little bit. So let's take this back several years ago when I
Whoa.
stumbled upon upon the show on Instagram because of Matt and I's mutual friend. And I'm like, wait. He's concerned. No, he's concerned, and he talks about it. Did we just become best friends? I started watching the show religiously after that. I loved it, and I liked the fact that it was growing. You guys were covering topics that I'm talking about with my friends who go, Dusty, shut up. No one cares. Yeah, they do. They do care. They're right here. We
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
And you know what? I get to bring the stuff that I'm interested in and bring it to the show. And when you guys invited me on, that was just beyond exciting for me. When I got to come in and bring my perspective for the show, that was amazing. I've been able to do more, say more, be more because of the show. And it's been absolutely wonderful getting to vibe with you guys, getting to share our faith with each other, getting to share just the ridiculousness that is politics, and from a Christian perspective. It's been wonderful.
Did you say
So-
vibe with us?
Yeah.
Vibe.
Okay,
Vibe.
you're out of here.
Whoa.
It's nice knowing you.
You just sacrificed a mankind.
Yeah.
Peace,
Sorry, buddy.
man.
Sorry, buddy. You broke a cardinal sin. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh,
Bro,
no.
just vibe.
Oh,
That's funny, man.
vibe.
What, you don't like the
God.
word vibe? Is
I
it
hate
like
it.
moist to you?
No, actually, I like moist. I had a friend in high school. His name was Moises.
Voices.
And his nickname, sophomore year, from some seniors in a thing we were doing, the seniors nicknamed him Moist, and I thought that was hilarious. He hated it, and I've never had a problem with that word since. But yeah, everybody's vibing these days. Let me old man rant. Oh, good vibes only. Everybody's got a stupid shirt. Good vibes only. Shut up.
I don't care about that.
It's like, oh man, it's chill. We're just vibing. We're just like, I just want somebody that I can vibe with. My God, I just want to rip your face off. Not you, Dusty. I know who you are. Random person on the internet. It's like,
It's all about the vibe, bro. It's all about the vibe.
no, it's
all about the
not.
First off, they're talking about it in regards to two perfect strangers who are just talking to each other. What I am talking about is our argument, debate, and consensus that we have on the show. That
Sure,
is what I call vibing.
Yes, I know. That's why it didn't really sicken me to my core.
And thus, I have used the term in its proper manner.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
JBN. Look at JBN's comment, by the way. It went from Dusty to Dusty. It just got. I like the intensity of that post. Yeah, man. I think from the beginning of the show, in my office with the worst acoustics of all time, one little mic, staring deeply into Matt's eyes. Watching
nothing wrong
Matt
with
go
that.
from like I know. I mean, but it's been cool. I mean, watching
And
you
don't
go
forget
from
the
kind of
back porch.
nervous, huh? The back
And
porch,
don't forget the
yes.
back porch.
Back porch days. Those are good days, man.
Oh
That
yeah.
was vibe. That was good times, man. But what was I gonna say? Just going from that to kind of seeing Matt like having these great ideas and like a little nervous to articulate them, and then like going that direction is awesome. Watching Dusty kind of come in. Dusty was the unseen realm on our show for a long time, and then
Yeah.
he got elevated into that role. We forget how things are because we're in them, if that makes sense. Like we're in it, so we forget how things used to be. So very cool to kind of see where the show's gone and what we've done, and I appreciate it, man. So it's a lot of fun, and yeah, dude. I mean, it's been a good ride. I really enjoy it. So because to me, it's like, yeah, I want awesome things to happen for the show. If it doesn't, though, I love the hobby and I love hanging out with you guys, and I love being able to articulate ideas and thoughts. Just I think from for me going from I was a crackpot conspiracy theorist, but now I'm just a confirmed conspiracy theorist at this point of the show. Like before it was just kind of ideals. Like, I mean, there's no way, like just watching things unfold and just watching the concept of globalism go from like um, a myth to a reality, and just seeing it play out every single day, and I've just enjoyed watching. I think confidence is probably the word of all three of us. It's just getting more confident in our stances, um, not from an arrogant standpoint or a pride standpoint, because there's been times when we've been wrong for sure. Like my documented wrong was California going red. I was I was totally wrong. It's like that whipped dog. It's always going to be a whipped dog. It doesn't change. And that's California. But it is cool watching that, and yeah, I think when I first started, I had a little bit more faith in Republicans, and now I have none. So I think that's a positive. So that's kind of moved in. I don't even know if I consider myself a conservative, but I think as the show's going on, I think it's made me root more in Jesus, and it's kind of been able to help us sniff the BS out from the whatever. But I'm enjoying it, and I, I'm just excited about today that the media is finally getting on board with us as well about the absurdity that is the selection of the puppet that's in control right now. Because what's the title of the show, Matty Bat? What is it?
It's in vogue now to trash Biden.
Did you say Madonna Vogue? Is that what you in
Yeah,
Vogue?
it's in vogue to trash Biden.
First of all, listen. This is going to make me sound incredibly gay with monkeypox, but honestly, I love that song in that video by Madonna. I want to throw that out there. Vogue's one of my favorite Madonna songs. Just 80s, 90s kid.
Hey,
I don't
Ray.
think I could tell
Just want
you.
to let you know. Just want to let you know, you're just like a Honda Civic. You're gay.
All right.
I don't think I know a
Wait.
Madonna song.
What?
Really?
You're stop.
No way. I
Trash
bet.
you.
Oh, no, I could probably sing like 2 lines of "Like a Virgin," and that's it.
Yeah, you know Madonna. Don't act like you don't. Death metal, you little death metal guy.
Little death metal guy. Wow.
Listen, I just want you to sing like a prayer in death metal. Just like a prayer. I'll take you there.
Is that a
I
Madonna
have to do
song?
it. Yes.
I didn't know that.
Oh, come on. You know any Madonna?
Yeah, I don't. Okay, so I listened to pop, top 40 radio till
Yeah.
about 6th grade, 7th grade,
Yeah.
maybe. And then I went over to my friend's house, and he put in a cassette of Nirvana's Nevermind album, and I was changed
Yeah.
forever. And so there's probably Madonna songs that I've heard before. I just don't know the names of them or, remember them very strongly.
Yeah.
Because I was never really a fan. That's just what my friends listened to, so I listened to it. And then I found what I actually enjoyed and never looked back. Yes, you
Hot
had a
take of
question.
the show. This will be my hottest take of the show, but Alice in Chains is better than Nirvana. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Way better. Just still, it just as the years progress, Nirvana just they were really cool because Kurt Cobain died. I'm just throwing that out there. They had one real good
Okay,
song.
that's not true. That's not
I
true.
will give you that. I will give you that. They had one good album. I won't say one song because there was a couple of good songs
All of their
on that
albums.
one album. The one
Give
album.
me-
All
after
four
that,
albums.
besides,
All four albums. Every song on those albums is excellent.
oh, made you want to kill yourself? Gotcha. Really good stuff. Brother.
No, it
Is it
never
really?
did. It never did. It never did. I can see it's like totally angsty, depressing, stuff, but it never altered my mood, except to make me like,
First of all,
God, this is awesome, But
here's the problem.
okay, so here's the thing. You're right about Alice in Chains in that their musicality way better. The
Way better.
harmonies and all that stuff that they
Yes.
produce, tremendous, But Nirvana's still my favorite band.
Of all time, OG.
Yeah, probably.
Wow, that's a bold statement. Interesting.
And
Interesting.
it's just it's probably heavily nostalgia, and just it was so changing. Like it changed my life musically, listening to that album for the first time. So I mean, it just had a huge impact on my tastes.
Okay.
And my tastes have expanded since then.
I have
but
a band.
what's that?
I have a band that similar to you, same circumstances. First time I heard it, I was like, what is this? What is this? It just spoke to me. I don't know what it was or how or why. It just did. But the Cranberries. I don't know. It's just my favorite band of all time.
Dusty, when are you going to make it linger, bro? When are you going to? I mean,
I like
you
Dreams better.
Dream's good too.
Dreams and
you guys
Zombie.
are you guys both Gen X?
Zombie.
We'd be considered exennials.
Exennials. Okay.
Exennials, yeah.
JBN says, time out. JBN says you were blasting Backstreet Boys in the Civic.
Since we called them Backdoor Boys.
The
Backdoor Boys, yeah. Definitely Backdoor Boys.
Backdoors.
And no,
back.
I actually turn them off whenever my wife tries to play it in the car. Ugh.
I hated boy bands, man. I hated
I
them.
love boy bands.
Why you hate that? Why you hate? Why you hating what's
Because
great,
it was garbage, and there was great music out there, like Nirvana and Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and Stone Temple Pilots and Pearl Jam, and I mean the '90s rock scene was just amazing. I mean the '80s rock scene was amazing.
Yeah.
The '70s rock scene was amazing, but then it just fell off after that. It's garbage, There's like a couple bands. Red Hot Chili Peppers stayed awesome, but that's because of their sugar sex magic. So, all their ritual garbage and Under the Bridge downtown.
Cannibalism. What?
What's that?
What did I say? That cannibalism.
And then,
but I mean, listen.
Incubus is another good band, but Incubus is a sex demon.
Yeah.
So more sex magic, making great music, but probably not being.
I think Satan just got bored with rock music. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I think he got bored with it. He saw gangster rap is the way to go, and now it's like whatever.
Now it's Beyonce and her ilk.
Yeah. I would say the band that got me was not a band. It was Jimi Hendrix, man. First time I heard Jimi Hendrix, I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? I want more of this. And I discovered Jimi Hendrix. Yeah. Like around the same time I started lifting weights and when I got saved. So I was like, it just is ingrained in me. I'm like.
What's your favorite Hendrix song?
Little Wing is definitely my favorite song, which nobody knows. It's like a
I
2 minute song, but it is like Tenacious D.
Well, that's where the two kings
Tenacious
come. That's where the two kings comes
D.
from.
That's where the Kings come from, bro.
All
I'm
you
I'm
people up
definitely.
there in City Hall.
No, but yeah, Jimi Hendrix, man, Little Wing, and then I would say Voodoo Child. You know, then Voodoo. I hate to say it that it's Voodoo, but Voodoo Child is phenomenal. Purple Haze is phenomenal.
I love
Um,
All Along the
Spanish.
Watchtower. My two favorite, I believe my two favorite Jimi Hendrix songs were actually written by Bob Dylan.
Along the Watchtower.
All Along the Watchtower, and then Castles Made of Sand, I think, is a Bob Dylan song too, but I'm not sure
Was
about
that
that.
Bob Dylan too?
I'm not sure.
JBN,
There's
definitely. Yeah. We're the people in the
so
streets.
Yeah.
listen. I had a discussion with my oldest daughter about Bob Dylan, and she was trying to make the argument like, oh, how awesome he was. And I was like, if he was so awesome, why were none of his songs as popular as the ones he wrote for everybody else? Like, I'm just curious about it. You know what I mean? So like,
Well,
if we're
because
going
he
on
was
that
a
level,
terrible singer.
well, of course
Yeah.
he was
Yeah,
garbage.
he was a garbage
Did that
performer, but he
No,
wrote
no, 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 no.
he
Garbage
wrote
is a
great
different
songs.
band.
Garbage '90s.
Yeah,
The
true.
world's
You want to go
enough,
back?
baby. No, but you know, like my thing is this: like, if you're gonna say great, like Prince wrote his own music, that was awesome, and he wrote everybody else for like the '80s. If you look back at the '80s and early '90s, like everything was a Prince song. Like Prince wrote everything, like all Whitney Houston, like he wrote everybody, and it was just like, no, but Bob Dylan couldn't do it. But like, oh, Bob Dylan's so awesome. I'm like, meh.
Well,
But I agree
I
with you.
don't think
Along the
meh is
Watchtower
the
is phenomenal.
appropriate response. Meh
You
isn't
guys
the
will laugh at
appropriate. I
me
mean,
when
he's
you
written.
figure out what my favorite genre is.
Yeah, I got you, dog.
EDM.
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 Really?
I love EDM.
I'm with
He's
you.
he's out there at the raves,
Yeah,
dropping some
actually, yeah.
X, and
No, I
he's
never
got the
did any of
he's
that.
got
I did go to
the
several raves.
he's got the pacifier in his mouth, and he's
Glow sticks, yes.
yeah.
First of all, I love how Irish jig dancing became EDM. Did you guys notice that too? You know what I'm talking
How
about?
did that happen? How did that
Like,
happen?
it was like Lord of the Dance, and then it became EDM dancing. I was like, oh, they don't even use their arms; it's just legs. It's just Irish jig dancing. You
Yeah.
know? So I like.
All
No, I'm
right.
with you. You know what I've been digging lately is like synth music that sounds like it's from the '80s, but it's written now.
Yeah,
Like like all that Kate Bush stuff, and you know,
like
I love that stuff. I'm like about it.
what Doctor
Time,
Disrespect puts out.
yeah, Doctor Disrespect music, Time Cop, the midnight, FM 84. You know, I'm like obsessed with that music right now. So, and my girls like it too. So, you know, I can rock with it.
I like it as background music, but it doesn't like it's I like it a lot as background music. It's very pleasant to listen to, and it can be
Yeah,
good, but like I don't know. I just miss a solid rock song or a metal song. Good
dead,
news.
bro.
Good news. Becoming the Archetype is putting out a new album. They released they've released 2 singles so far, and Jason Wisdom is back in the helm with the vocals and the bass guitar, and I can't freaking wait. Ah, so good.
Hey, dog.
I'm like the
Listen,
only person in the world who cares about that, but that's not true. They
yeah.
have a lot of fans, but
Did you see the glaze in me and Dusty's eyes when you said that? We're like, oh yeah, cool man. It's like,
you've listened to some Becoming the Archetype.
they're
What?
not bad.
Yeah, they're awesome.
They're not bad. They're not bad.
They're
You know,
incredible.
listen, I can get some scream metal down. I'm down with that world. You know what I mean? But people get mad at me when I say like Five Finger Death Punch. They're like, oh, that's not real rough. That's bullcrap, bro. That's like the Nickelback of metal.
There's a lot.
If
I'm not
Nickelback
gonna
is
say
so
they're.
bad, why did they sell so many albums and are
Exactly.
still relevant today?
It's the McDonald's
They're
theory.
not.
Oh, McDonald's sucks. How do they serve billions? You
Yeah.
lying sack of crap. You like McDonald's too.
I don't like
Sorry.
Nickelback. I absolutely don't
Listen.
like Nickelback. There's not a single one of their songs that I like.
Matt,
It's
we all just want to be big rock
corporate.
stars.
It's
Okay.
corporate, soulless, garbage rock.
Okay,
Hey, Matt.
okay, fine. You don't like Nickelback, fine. Then the alternative to Nickelback that you do like is Creed.
Listen,
I do
Matt,
like
look
Creed.
at this photo.
I do like Creed.
See?
I got no
See?
problem with Creed. I got no problem with Creed.
If it's not
Scott Stapp.
Nickelback, then it's Creed. It's one of the two.
He can take me higher, damn it. I did like Creed. I didn't like every single song, but there's some good songs. I mean, when he was flying,
there's some
when that
great
guy was
songs
flying
in Creed.
around the Super Bowl, got me right here. No, I didn't. I didn't even watch that. I just happened to see a clip recently.
Somebody cut the cord.
Okay, while we're in pop culture, then let's talk some MCU.
Oh, what? Do we have to?
MCU? Well, you
we
talk.
Just a
Do we
little
have
bit.
to?
Just real quick.
Fine.
I mean, San Diego
Fine.
Comic-Con was this past weekend. There's some big news, right?
Wait, is that still going on? Comic-Con?
Yeah, it's still going on.
They're still doing it
Is that
somehow.
still a thing?
Apparently.
It's still a thing. Listen,
But I thought
just
Vogue
because
killed
it's
everybody.
Comic-Con doesn't mean that people aren't interested in comic books. They're interested in telling comic book-like stories. Now, I will say the independents right now are killing it in storytelling.
sure. Like
The mainstream stuff are garbage.
Yeah. Well, like the
World
Comics
Young
Gate
Young
stuff, like Cyberfrog, and then
Young Rip.
Eric July just released the Ripaverse, and he's made
Yes.
like that Kickstarter's made over like what $4 million.
Is it 4 million now?
Yep.
Bro.
Yeah.
It might even be close to
What-
5. I haven't looked at it in a bit.
Wasn't he just going for like 200,000? That was his deal. He's like, oh, maybe.
I
like
think it was 100,000. I think it was
I
100,000.
think it was 100,000. Then they bumped it up to, hey, if we hit 200,000, then I'll do. He agreed to do something else, and then it hit 500,000 in a couple of days.
No,
Yeah.
a
He's
couple
just like-
hours. The day he
hours,
released it,
yeah.
it was already at $1 million.
Over $1 million.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! I didn't realize it went up that fast.
The stretch goal that he reached was to have his crew be full time, so that they could, because like
full-time
what
now.
he's doing is it's like he's making a comic book universe. So
Yeah.
it's not just like this isn't just you're buying the first episode. You are kind of, but you're also investing in this company being a full-fledged comic book company.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
exciting.
so I hope he's super successful, and I hope he puts a huge dent in Marvel and DC, because they need to be taken down a big peg or two. And quite honestly, they really don't care about their comic book side. They don't. The only thing they care about is farming it for story. That's
Yeah.
it.
It's R&D
All
for
they're
Marvel
doing is
Studios.
churning out story. Is, hey, what's sticking? Throw a bunch out there. Okay, this is kind of working. This is kind of working. That kind of works over there. Let's put that together and make a movie. And that's where they're making their money.
But
And
what's
quite honestly,
stupid is that
it's ruining
what's
Marvel.
working now pales in comparison to what worked a decade ago or 2 decades ago. You know,
Mhm.
the stuff from the 90s, the storylines from the 90s, by the way, the whole first, 10 years of the MCU was 80s and 90s material. Okay?
Yeah.
The Infinity Stones, that was peak 90s, man. That was when I started getting into comic books. And so they're
very first
abandoning
appearance of
those
the Goblin
amazing
was 1982.
storylines. They're abandoning those amazing storylines for more current stuff. But the current stuff that's even quote unquote doing well is garbage in comparison to the numbers that the other stuff got. And they're not getting those numbers. And people say, well, the comic book industry has changed and blah, blah. No, people still want that kind of story. They're just not putting it out there. So anything that they're pulling from today is going to be garbage. amongst general audiences because it's not even pulling comic book audiences.
And the movie stuff that they did in the early start, like say the X-Men movies, they were pulling from great stories that sold really, really well. They just didn't do it right. They did not tell the story
well. That was Fox.
They just said, let's make it big and showy, and
Yes.
forgot to tell the dang story.
That was Fox not caring about the characters. One thing we can at least say about Marvel Studios is that they at least have some kind of relationship with the characters, that they, you know, try to keep them relatively true to what
you said that.
Well, I mean,
Did you
it's
try
got.
to say that with a straight face?
What's that?
Did you try to say that with a straight face, my friend?
It is true. Okay.
Oh, Thor in the comics versus Thor in the movies.
Hear me.
Okay.
I'm talking about in the first phase. Phase 4. Phase 4 has not been good.
No. Phase 4 has been garbage. There's been no direction.
And
no
elements of the end of Phase 3, like what they did to Thor, was funny, but then ultimately has led to, you know, Love and Thunder, which was garbage.
Shtick. I feel you.
Now, but at SDCC, Feige gets up there and he says immediately, Phase 4 is over. It's done. And then the big news is they announced 2 Avengers films when there were supposed to be no more Avengers films. According to what Feige himself said, I think in February of this year. So perhaps, and the hope is that they learned a few things during the Phase 4 trials, and we're going to get back to the formula that works so well in the first, you know, storyline. Or they're just
going to... I can tell you that's not happening already.
Yeah.
Why?
I have watched Miss Marvel.
Yeah, that's still Phase 4.
Awful.
That's Phase 4. Phase 4 is over.
She-Hulk is coming out, and it looks absolutely awful. Terrible.
I would say everything that you know is already on its way, like, is Phase 4. So yeah, those are going to be horrible.
Yeah. Thor: Love and Thunder, I get, is the ending of Phase 4, and quite honestly, it is awful. It's not a good film.
Thor: Love and Thunder ended Phase 4 because you still got Wakanda Forever without Black Panther. So you got a Black Panther movie without Black Panther.
Yeah.
Just throw that out there.
And they have not figured out a way to deal with the actor's demise.
No, they're just gonna MCU it, bro. Make a sister of Black Panther.
But that's not dealing with it. That's just pushing it aside. It's Star Warsing Luke Skywalker. Does that make sense?
100%. You're speaking to the choir.
He's just going to take the lightsaber and chuck it.
Yeah. Well, but that's been the MCU Phase 4. That's literally all it's been. It's take every, you take every single character that we loved, right? Because we can all agree Endgame was a masterpiece. Can we agree with that?
That was good. That was very good.
Like a cohesive storyline from Iron Man to Endgame, phenomenal. Couple okay movies that weren't that great.
Sure.
But for the most part, pretty awesome. You know what I mean? And I'm even the guy, I'll fall on the sword of Ant-Man. I'll be the rare guy that will say, I like seeing Ant-Man. I enjoy the stories. I enjoyed it. Everybody craps on it.
Well, really?
Me and Matt like it. Okay?
I've never heard anybody crap on Ant-Man.
Nerdrotic hates it.
Oh, okay. Critics, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
When they first announced Ant-Man, I was like, Ant-Man? Really? Well, then once they announced Paul Rudd, and I realized, this is going to be mainly a funny like feel to it. I was like, okay, perfect. Ant-Man will do just fine in that milieu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you need the comic relief,
And
but then they
Paul
were like,
Rudd.
they went, everything has to be funny now in the MCU. So then here's what pissed me off about the MCU phase 4. Okay, like I grew up watching The Simpsons. Okay, the dad's a knucklehead. The girl's got Lisa Simpson's gonna save the day. Family Guy. Peter Griffin's an idiot. Lois is gonna save the day. How many effing stories of that do we need to hear? Especially when you're dealing with people like Thor. Comic book Thor doesn't suck. Okay?
Yeah.
Comic book Thor didn't have an existential crisis, except for when he initially lost Mjolnir, and then when he somehow lost the hammer to Jane Foster in the new iteration. But for the most part, Thor killed people. Go ahead.
Yeah, true. Now, okay, the current or the most recent loss of existential crisis, the existential crisis in the comics is actually somewhat interesting. I don't know how they're doing it because I haven't been reading it. I'm just saying, like the basic idea of it is interesting. Their execution may have been god awful, but I didn't read it because I'm not reading their comics. But
let's again, another example: Bruce Banner in the comics versus Bruce Banner in the MCU.
Bruce Banner in the comics would kill him.
This is such a it's such a curse. The newest She-Hulk. Have you guys seen the newest She-Hulk?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah. Your best friend
It's
is
awful.
spandex, and you're just a Mary Sue. You just magically get the Thor powers, and you're better than I am at everything. Okay? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like Bruce Banner was like super smart, kind of a go-to guy, an actual Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, an actual like I need to keep the Hulk under wraps because he'll kill everybody. Like not this kind of yeah, he might do something. No. You know what I mean? Like it's a different reality. And so you take those characters, and then now in the MCU phase 4, every man's an idiot. Is there anyone that's smart in the MCU? Is there any male character that actually?
Yeah. Huh? Not if he has a
no. They've even wussified Star-Lord. Like Star-Lord was a great character.
Yeah.
Awesome, cool, and they completely whipped him.
I mean, let's get rid.
What do
he's
you
no
mean?
longer the Star Wars.
Is this in Love and Thunder that you're talking about?
That and Endgame and things like that. He wasn't the same as what he was when in the first 2
movies,
Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
But here's my question:
feel that way?
Which man character is competent in any of the MCU movies? Who's competent?
They killed off all the male figures. Iron Man, Captain America.
Yeah.
And they pretty much wussified Thor. So
they wussified Thor. They wussified Hawkeye. They wussified the Thor. Guardians are kind of like, they're just kind of comic relief. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so many things that it's just like, how many times are you going to tell Captain Marvel over and over and over again? Eventually, like even Doctor Strange in his newest movie was, it should have been named the Scarlet Witch movie featuring Doctor Strange. That's what it should have been called, because that's essentially what it was, right? So it's like, and I've complained about it on the show. Professor X gets knocked off in a mind battle in 3 seconds to the Scarlet Witch. Come on, dude, stop. Just stop. Go ahead. What's up?
They completely Karen'd Scarlet Witch.
Yes.
They turned her into a Karen, which
they did what?
Her drive.
Karen. They made her a Karen.
They turned her into a Karen. where
Gotcha.
her drive makes absolutely zero sense.
No,
You do not understand why she's doing this and going to the extremes that she is, to where she's literally hurting herself. She's going and killing herself to try and get her kids back that never existed in the first place.
And here's the other thing too. If you never watched WandaVision, that made no sense. That made
Yeah,
no
it didn't.
sense.
It really
in
didn't.
the movie.
You had to watch WandaVision, and you had to watch
What if?
What If in order to completely understand what was going on in that movie. And I gotta say,
guess what?
I love the What Ifs. Those were fun.
Agreed.
You know why? Because they don't matter. They're just
Yeah.
spin-offs.
But here's the thing. If the playbook is now we're gonna make a bunch of content, because it's not art. I'm just gonna be real with you. This is content. You're gonna make a bunch of content for Disney Plus, and you're gonna have to hope that people will watch it before you go into your movies. This is why Thor: Love and Thunder is not that successful. This is why Doctor Strange fell off in 2 seconds,
Well,
because it's
okay.
like, wait, okay, sweet. This is, you know what
I
I mean?
disagree with that.
It doesn't make sense.
I disagree with that. If it's just content for content's sake, you're right. But if it's content that's interconnected, that's the whole thing. That's what I was signed up for, you know? Like
And
when
Moon Knight
when I was watching Agents of Shield and then went into Captain America Winter Soldier and then went back the next week to Agents of Shield and everything had changed because of the events of Winter Soldier, that was incredible.
That was pretty cool.
That was incredible.
That was before Endgame.
I know
before
that. I
Endgame.
understand that. And so what I'm hoping for is that Phase 4 is done. They're gonna push out these last 2 garbage Phase 4, entities, and then they're gonna get back to the work of an interconnected universe and a decent storyline, and they're gonna lose all this crap that clearly didn't work because their ratings significantly dropped. Their views and all that and their money has significantly dropped. So let's get back to the formula that worked, I hope. Or they're grasping at straws and they're going for, Avengers usually did well, so let's just do some more Avengers and we'll throw more crap at the wall and see what sticks.
That's exactly what's going to happen. I hate to burst your bubble, because here's the thing:
But,
they do not have a vision. They kind of set up the secret invasion.
So then, who had the vision for the first run? Where did that come from?
Was it Kevin Feige? Was it Feige?
Yeah, he's still there.
Feige was in charge.
Why can't he do it again?
Making it all interconnected and make it all work. Now the issue is he's now managing several different projects. He's managing several Star Wars projects. He helped produce Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's also worked on the Orville.
Really?
For Fox. Yeah, he's executive producer for the Orville. So
that was a
he's
great
got
show.
all these different projects. I love the Orville. Season 3 has been interesting. They've tackled some subjects that, well, quite honestly, yay. Flag waving.
Yeah.
Wait,
don't care.
Only guy Star Trek went woke? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, but at least he told a good story while doing it.
I got you.
I will give it that. I was interested in the story. It was a woke story, but it was actually engaging. So I'll give it to him.
All right, boys. Go ahead.
Yeah.
But
now, the last thing I want to tackle on this subject is DC, which is shocked the snot out of me, because Black Adam looks interesting. It actually looks fun. It looks
good.
Fun. I hope they actually go dark with it, because Black Adam is actually a very bad guy character. He was literally a bad guy
villain. He's a straight up villain.
The Justice League.
So he's a villain. So why are they making him like anti-hero?
Because he became an anti.
No, he is an
intimidating.
anti-hero. He's like Loba.
He started bad.
Loba
Like
is a
he started
bad
bad.
guy, but he's not a bad guy. Does that make sense?
He's like
Who is?
he's like he's like Doctor Doom in the sense where it depends on who's looking at him. Does that make sense? Like
That's true.
the citizens
Okay.
of Doctor Doom's country think he's a hero, right? Everybody else thinks he's a villain. You can make the argument either way, but Black Adam's the same way. His country views him as the liberator and the one that saved them, right? So, and the other thing too is when he gave the power to make that girl Isis, or the incarnation of Isis, he finally got laid, and then he did some good things. So I mean, it just depends on what phase of Black Adam you're doing here. But I'm not gonna lie, I got turned off from The Rock for a while since he went full Biden. I was like, okay, I'm done with The Rock. I'm over it.
Yeah, me too.
But Black Adam, I could almost overlook that. And then when you've got James Bond showing up as Dr. Fate, I was a little excited. I was like,
When I saw Dr. Fate was going to be in it and several other characters, I was like, okay, all right, we're getting something.
I've always
And,
liked Dr. Fate. I've always liked Dr. Fate. I love his look. But he always seemed like way underpowered. Like, talked up quite a bit, but then never up to the power struggle,
Never quite delivered.
Well, because Zatanna's technically stronger than he is. The other thing too is Dr. Fate really isn't the person he embodies. It's just it's a moniker for the helmet embodies the Mesopotamian god.
So it's an entity inside an artifact that takes over a human host. Okay, interesting. I didn't know that.
It's based on kind of whatever the Mesopotamian god, I forget the guy's name, allows Dr. Fate to do. So like when you ever get to like DC Dark, okay, here comes the DC nerd side of me. Here it comes. Like technically Zatanna is way stronger. So like when they really need an OP magic user, it's always Zatanna. Dr. Fate kind of plays that like Doctor Strange role where he kind of like connects the dots, and he's kind of like in this, but there's something he kicks face and he kicks
he's the one who knows what to do, how to do it, but he may not be able to do it himself. He's Deckard Cain in Diablo.
Yeah, he puts the pieces together.
Yeah.
If I need Superman for this, I get a good Superman. If I need Wonder Woman for this, I get Wonder Woman. If I need Aquaman, I go get Aquaman. It just whatever the need is, if that makes sense. And if it gets real ugly, it's always Zatanna that kind of pulls them out with Constantine. You know what I mean? So it's kind of which I've enjoyed that with DC Comics. But go ahead. Sorry about that.
Constantine 2 is coming.
I know.
With Keanu Reeves?
Is it with Keanu?
Keanu Reeves. He's signed.
Cool.
He was actually talking about this in an interview recently. They were like, out of all the characters you portrayed, who would you like to play again? He's like, well, I love John Wick. As long as the fans like John Wick, I will continue to play John Wick. The only other person that I'd really like to go back to is Constantine. I'm like, wait,
that's
what?
Such a good.
It was a great movie. It's nothing like the comic book. The comic book is straight depressing.
Yeah.
It is depressing. I don't know how people read it and enjoy it. It's like,
well,
it's brutal.
If you're an alcoholic, you appreciate it.
Yeah, I guess.
So this is all tying into where DC is going. They're doing Black Adam. Then they're coming out with Shazam 2.
Good.
And
that was one of their better movies.
Yeah, and so in that, they're setting up their new universe and whatnot. And the one thing that I don't know why they didn't announce this, but Henry Cavill is coming back to play Superman again.
Sweet.
Praise God.
He was
Praise
great.
God.
Why didn't DC announce that at MegaCon? They waited to announce it on a little platform way out in the boonies. Like, okay, are you actually going to do this, or is this just big rumor? Right.
They're waiting for Marvel to implode. To be honest
you
with
think so?
Because I don't think Marvel. I think they're waiting to be the contrast to the MCU or the MCU, if that makes sense. Because you got to think about this.
That's what they were trying to be originally, but they went too dark.
As bad as Marvel is, DC has been worse for a long time.
It has, but there have been nuggets, right? The first Aquaman.
I'm not even talking about movies. I'm talking about the comic books.
Oh.
The comic books have been way worse for much longer than Marvel has been.
Yeah.
Now, they're both going off the edge. But, I mean, I wouldn't have faith in DC being the...
DC was really good was when Superman died. That was the last time.
New 52 was good.
Yeah, Doomsday. Okay, all right.
We need to get to
Darkest
politics.
Night. The Dark Knights. Yeah, okay. Darkest Night, I'll leave it at that. That was really good.
Darkest Night was all right. There was everybody who died, I was like, I don't even know or care who this character is.
That's how you do it. If you're going to kill somebody, you're going to kill the irrelevant person. You kill the red shirts.
Well, they killed Batman before Darkest Night ever started. And then the rest of it was just like, who are these characters? And they're all so lame. The Pantheon, the core Justice League, great. The rest of the universe blows.
Listen, dog. You just
Plastic Man. Seriously, Plastic Man, if you ever get to read some of his comic books, they're hysterically funny. He is... Let's
He's
just
Deadpool.
say he is the... Yeah, thank you for stealing that. He's the Deadpool of DC. He's funny. And the funny thing is he can change shape. So he shapeshifts into a whole bunch of different things, gets himself into a lot of different places. And quite honestly, the Batman Year One that was supposed to be really kid-friendly and biff, bam, pow? Yeah, he was not kid-friendly at all.
All right.
All right, sorry, dude.
So,
In Vogue.
Yeah.
In Vogue.
So first off, the media is trashing Biden. And we're sorry to all our viewers and listeners. We got really derailed with the nerd stuff. And if you don't like it, sorry, I guess. Not
well,
really.
It's going to get more like that in the future, but we'll announce that later on. But keep going. Sorry.
We talk about what we want to talk about. So
stop foreshadowing, Ray.
Deal with it. King's privilege. What? Huh?
But the media has been turning on Biden. Have you noticed that lately? Everybody's much more okay with saying how, like, is he showing signs of dementia? Like, literally, like, they're saying that now. We've been saying it since day one, since the campaign
Before
trail.
he was president.
I have a very simple phrase for this. No shiitake.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sonic 2. Sonic 2. Good movie.
But it's
no.
All of a sudden now.
Well, it's not all of a sudden. It's not
No,
all of a sudden.
All of a sudden, the media.
But it's not all of a sudden.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why. Go ahead, Dusty.
This was all planned ahead of time.
Yes.
You know that, right?
Yes.
What's coming up? The November election.
Exactly.
They needed to get him to November election, and then after that, drop him like a bad habit and put the Harris into play. You notice how quiet she has been, how pulled back she's been? They can't put her in front of anything because they know she will ruin it.
I mean, just this week, she's, her pronouns are she, her, and she's a woman wearing a blue suit sitting at the table. So
on indigenous land.
So quiet lately. But, they eventually have to bring her out into public and pray that she can look more competent than Joe Biden, which is actually a Herculean task for her.
But this is, to Dusty's point, you got a midterm coming. So they have to kind of look objective because they look like effing idiots if they even remotely stand with him at this point. When you got an approval rating that's like 31% at this point, he's like 20%. He's like 20% underwater where Trump was at the same time in his presidency. And the other problem is Harris is polling worse. Gas prices, like you can't deny, like, you can't say gas prices were not my fault, and then now that they're going down a little bit, it's my fault. You look like a moron if you made that argument. And then on top of that, Ukraine isn't looking good. Afghanistan never looked good. You have not a single positive thing to sell the American people, right?
Or
With
even his
Obama,
base, because Roe v. Wade died under his watch.
yeah, exactly. But the other thing too is, I don't think people care. Again, we've talked about this on the show. Nobody cared about Roe v. Wade that much. Nobody cares. It's hard to care about slaughtering babies or worshiping Moloch when your gas pump is your biggest bill as an American. It's
Nobody
hard to care.
cares about Roe v. Wade when they can still have abortions practically everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, you can still kill your baby in blue states.
It doesn't really matter if you can still kill your baby. What matters is trying to drive to the abortion clinic because gas is $5 a gallon.
But don't worry. Major corporations are more than happy to pay you $4,000 to do that, rather than you go out on maternity leave for, like 3 months.
Stay in your cubicle.
Oh wait, no. I mean, they want to support, women's rights and, bodily autonomy or something. I don't know whatever the kids are talking about these days.
Hey, slave at work, not in your household.
Yeah, God, no. That's empowerment.
Listen, just vibe at work, okay? We just need to vibe at work. That's all. Just vibe at work.
No, but
I've told you my weakness.
I don't think, to Dusty's point, this has been planned because you can only keep the genie in a bottle for so long. When you keep monumentally effing up, there's only so much lying you can do. That's why Jen Psaki is no longer the speaker, and they put that mindless drone in her position, because there's only so much you can lie about. You know what I mean? There's only so much you can do, because here's the problem. They told you for 4 years how evil Orange Man is, and Biden's doing all the things that they said Orange Man would do that didn't happen. Does that make sense? Yeah. So now you're caught like, oh, and the other thing they're not talking about is, what is it? Media trust in media is like 9% now. It's 9%, to the point where NBC, the host on NBC, she's like, yeah, I mean, nobody trusts us anymore, and she's acting surprised and shocked. Oh my God. You got to pivot somehow, especially with an election coming up, to look credible. And this is their way of doing it. You know what I mean?
Do you think that do you think that Biden's on his way out though?
Yes.
Or is this just going to get us through to the midterms and then?
If here's the problem,
this is going to be. He's going to stay with it. They're going to keep with him until the midterms are done. After the midterms are done, when they know they're going to lose the House and the Senate, so he's going to be a lame duck president. They know that they're going to lose. They know the statistics of how it's going to play out, and they're playing to that. Okay, we know he's going to be a lame duck. Let's get him out afterwards and go, well, he's senile. That's what all the problems were. We need to bring somebody else in.
Yes.
Pull in Kamala. They're going to appoint some new Pelosi or somebody into VP and have a first female president. And that's what they're going for. They don't care that she can do the job. All she has to do is sit in the chair. That's it.
Yeah, of course.
Because to Dusty's point, they have to look like they're making a pivot from all the shiitake that's going on. They have to look like they're making a pivot. So once the House and Senate are gone for the Democrats, they're gonna pull the, you know what, he's got dementia. We just found out. We just found out after the election. We got Article 25 him, get him out of there, get him out of that position, and we'll let Kamala run. And then we talked about it before. They know Kamala's going to lose, but they can play the narrative. America's racist and sexist. That's why they won't vote for her, and not because the policies.
It's all those Trump people that are sexist and racist, against a poor woman, black woman.
It's mitigating damage. It's
Yeah.
literally mitigating damage. The media is turning on Biden to mitigate damage, so they can gaslight you and say, "Oh, well, we told you he sucked. We told you that."
And by the way, I'm calling this out. Was it 4 or 5 months
Yeah,
before it happens? So this is, again, this show is news today for tomorrow
without the gay frogs.
without the gay frogs. Yeah, they're still out there.
I miss that sound. I miss that sound.
I
I
got
miss
it.
it. Oh, hit it with me.
Oh, I don't got it. Never mind.
It's okay. It's okay.
Oh.
Rest in peace.
Come on, man.
But
So
no,
in
go
that
ahead.
regard, you have to understand she's not going to be able to pass anything. The House and Senate will have full control. More than likely, we're picking up close to 20, 25 seats in the House
Yeah.
and 8 seats in the Senate.
You think 8?
Yeah. It's going to be 8 or less is going to be my prediction. I'm pretty sure it's going to be 8.
I'm gonna say 4, just to be the middle ground. But I'm with you. I think that it'll be a seismic shift to the point where you can't have power anymore. You know what I mean? It's just going to be that
Yeah.
situation. So I'm
Yeah.
with you. But it's Project Gaslight. It's not about In Vogue.
Yeah.
It's about gaslighting because they're already doing it. Dr. Birx, we talked about that last week. He said, well, the vaccines didn't work. And
I always knew it wouldn't be
Fauci-
very effective.
We
We may have overstated their effectiveness.
Watch this. They will pin it on Trump, stating that, well, he's the one that developed the vaccine. We just took his word for the fact that it was effective. It's his fault that we didn't know it wasn't effective.
Meanwhile, we have clips of Kamala saying that she wouldn't take the vaccine.
Yeah.
Because Trump made it.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
Listen,
I know, none of this matters. The history doesn't matter.
yes.
Because how dare they play that on TV? That's a sensitive black woman. You cannot say that about her.
But you're literally watching them change history in front of your eyes, and the normies aren't like. And that's the thing. It's like I get the average person doesn't want to sit around and investigate this crap like we do, but the normies are going to be like, well, Fauci said he didn't advocate for lockdowns, and
Yeah.
the normies going to believe that crap.
You know, Trump was the one who locked us down.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've heard people say that he locked us down, but he didn't. He just let the states lock themselves down.
And that's why Florida didn't lock down. That's why a lot of these red states didn't lock down. And that's the thing is, it's going to be revisionist history for the next 4 months before this election. It will be revisionist history. It'll be gaslight. The media is going to try to save face by ripping Biden. Fauci and Birx are trying to cover their donkey. That's the nicest way of putting it. Cover their jackass because they lied the whole time. They advocated for lockdowns in these vaccines. You're going to have Kamala telling you she did an amazing job on the border. You're going to have Pete Buttplug talking about how amazing he did with the I fixed the pipelines and the product pipelines. I fixed all that. Like they're going to write history, and normies are going to believe this crap, even though we saw it for 2 years. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
And this ties into some of the bills that they have planned on voting on in the next few weeks. Is 2 gun laws that are going to supposedly make the gun manufacturers liable for their guns, even though they didn't pull the trigger, they didn't do anything other than manufacture the guns. But they're going to make them liable. That's like making Ford responsible for all the accidents out on the road. Ford didn't crash the car. So then the other bill that they're doing is they're making all assault weapons, which they still have not clearly defined as what an assault weapon is.
Well,
no, they haven't.
So Dusty, they have defined what an assault weapon is. It's any gun that shoots. They literally, if it's not a musket, they want it gone. You know what I'm saying?
We know. Come on, guys. You're being facetious. and I don't like it. We all know it's
Would you
the
like me to
assault
read the
rifle
bill?
15. Their main goal is the assault rifle 15, and because it's assault's right in the name of it.
Assault rifle.
You mean Armalite?
What?
You mean Armalite?
Yeah, the fully
Model
automatic
15?
assault rifle 15.
Oh my gosh.
Vote
I'm
for
leaving.
Dusty's out. Dusty is out. He's out of the chat.
So there's two bills. It's HR 1808. Look this up, and it's HR 2814. 2814 is the one that will make gun manufacturers liable. Which essentially what they want to do is make it so that it's too expensive and not profitable to make guns. If
so that
nobody's
only
making
the
guns,
wealthy
nobody
elites can
buy
have
guns.
firearms.
Correct, because they'll be the only ones to pay the armorists who make guns individually, so they can make them for these very, very elites. And
That's
then,
sick.
and the military, of course. The military.
Well, they got.
They'll only be able to sell them in the military.
Yeah.
And then HR 1808 is essentially anything over 7 rounds is illegal. Any clip over 7 rounds, but bolt action. Let me see. It says bolt action, lever action, pump action are not eligible for this law. Okay, so everything else is illegal.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we need
Anything
to develop
semi-automatic, which is 95% of the guns that are made today are semi-automatic.
Yep.
Yeah.
What we need now is to develop drums for lever action rifles.
Well, they already kind of have that with the long rifle.
Yeah, I mean, but like I want like
quick.
a 200 round drum on a lever action rifle. That would be ridiculous. It would be so stupid.
The problem is, how are you going to pass that in enough time before the midterm?
It's supposed to pass in August.
I just don't. I don't know how they're going to do that. How? Because the other thing too is, after the constitutional ruling on weapons in America, how are you going to try to pass this law? It's not going to hold up constitutionally.
It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. All they have to do is get it to pass. That's it. All they have to do is get it passed. That way, after the midterms are over, they can go, well, we passed this bill. It's gonna ban all this stuff. Supreme Court's gonna step in immediately and go, guys, it's not constitutional. You can't do this. Come the next election, which would be the presidential election in 2024, they will go, we passed this and they banned it. We passed this and they banned it. Roe v. Wade and they banned it. Yeah. That's what they're going to be running on. That's what they want to run on. So they have a platform because they don't have anything else to stand on at this point.
It's funny. Neither of those are winning.
They're not winning issues.
Yeah.
And the other thing to Dusty's point, or I would disagree with, there's so many Democrats on the chopping block. You're essentially just giving up. You're literally giving up your position if you vote for that, because you're going to get hammered by you're just going to add fuel to the fire.
For this election.
Yeah.
And they're not worried about this election. They know they're going to lose these elections. They know it. They see the writing on the wall. They know what it is. They're not planning for this election. They're planning for 2024. They want somebody in there, whoever the dummy is going to be, that's going to pick up the mantle of, I'm woke. And they need to drum up their base as much as possible to get them as angry as possible, because they don't have COVID this year.
Yeah.
Well, they're trying in this election. They don't have COVID anymore. So they're trying to go for monkeypox, which is a joke. The only way you can get monkeypox is start shaking people's hands.
Well, shaking their hands. That's the nice way of saying it. A little bit of male love, but we won't say that. on the show.
Anyways,
Gay men. Anyways, what did I say?
so that is my theory. I'm throwing it out there. I'm putting this out there that this is what's going to happen in the next 6 months. Is they're going to pass all these. It's not just going to be this. It's going to be a slew of bills. It's going to be an omnibus thing where it's a spending bill. It's this thrown in. It's that thrown in. It's just going to be 900,000 pages of just, hey, you got it, throw it in here. Pass it so they can find out what's in it. Pelosi's famous phrase. We have to pass it to find out what's in it.
I mean, there's
then throw it to the alphabets.
You're not wrong about some of that. The left has always been willing to put out as much as they could and see what gets them an inch farther. Whereas we get the Republicans. I won't even say we. The Republicans get power, and then they're too afraid to do anything. They get nothing done, except they sure love to spend, just the same.
Yeah. They're definitely not conservative by any stretch of any imagination,
and they're not fighting for anything. They're just
they spend.
If you get rid of problems, then people got no reason to vote you in.
That's true.
Unless you actually took care of things, and it was like, hey, I have a record of taking care of stuff. I was part of the reason why, there's, why, children can't be groomed in Florida,
Yeah.
in public schools.
I kept Florida open.
Yeah, all that stuff, That's what actually secures your power. Your power.
Yep.
I don't know.
So we're an hour and a half in. I got a final thought, man.
Wait. We still haven't done the whole Vogue part.
Oh my gosh. Let's go.
Well, it's what burned you up. It was burning you up before.
But this is what my final thought's going to be. It's the Vogue part.
So let's just talk about it.
Okay, fine. A-hole. Go.
I put it in the title, okay?
Oh.
Okay, then here it is. You know what grinds my gears? Hate to steal from Peter Griffin again. No, listen. Weren't we told that Ukraine was the most important war effort of all time?
Kind of.
We were told that there's an epic battle, a struggle, David versus Goliath. Mm-hmm. The blue, yellow versus those evil Ruskies, and all that. We were told that there was the ghost of Kiev and old women shooting mortars and killing Ruskies, and Vladimir Putin is on his last leg. He's a crumbling empire. He's a paper tiger. Blah 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 blah. And that was the thing to care about, and everybody jumped on the bandwagon. I won't throw people under the bus. People that we know, Matt, jumped on that bandwagon too. Ukraine, the people of Ukraine, and I have sympathy. I have friends that are Ukrainian. My wife's been to Ukraine. I have sympathy
for the people that are caught in this farce of It's not that it's not a real conflict. It's just not. The presentation is not what.
No.
Is not being. No. The presentation is not reality.
No, this is literally a guy that we don't like, Ruski bad, turning the lights on in a very corrupt, evil government, aka Ukraine. And what doesn't help their narrative about how do we say this? War torn the country is, which is not helping, is Vogue, the magazine Vogue, decided to go into a devastating war zone, a war-ridden Ukraine.
Massacre.
And shoot a photo shoot, a massacre that we've never seen, unprecedented. I hate to use that word, unprecedented war, and have a photo shoot for Zelensky. You know the guy that dressed up like a chick. Huh? And his wife. Yeah. the guy who is now jailing people who have an alternative view of this farce that's happening right now. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but he's
Oh
jailing
yeah.
people.
I mean, he jailed his political opponents
Opponents.
after he got into the presidency.
Yeah, because
He's not a
that's what you
good
do.
guy. He's not a hero.
But he's a hero.
He doesn't pay Joe Biden's son millions of dollars to sit on a company that he has no clue how to run.
Listen, here's the problem. You wanted me to care about Ukraine. You guys have dumped what, $60 billion? We've dumped $60 billion into Ukraine. We could have used 5 of that, built our border wall. We wouldn't have the southern crisis, but it's another story for another time. We want to neutralize our population by letting fentanyl in, and not the most best people into our country. But that's another story for another time. I'm sure they're all small children and women just trying to escape the oppression and tyranny of whatever country they're coming from. Even though 80% of the people crossing are work-age men under 40 years old, but I wouldn't say that, or I wouldn't mention the fact that 900,000 getaways have entered into our country. That's the equivalent of the entire city of Dayton, Ohio, but I'll leave that one alone as well. But we've poured $60 billion plus into Ukraine for nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing.
Well, I mean, unless you if you don't count, the laundering that they probably did with that $60 billion, and it, it got back to American citizens.
How much
very
of that
very
money
wealthy
do you
American
think has
citizens.
gone into the DNC?
Well, yeah, the DNC, they're Americans. Wealthy bank owners and
hey, listen,
the Biden family.
New World Order.
Guys, you have to keep the bio labs open.
Yeah.
You have to keep the little girls getting
all
pumped
9
out
of them?
to these DC people. You got to keep the pedophilia rocking. You got to keep the bio weapons going on. You got to keep the Hunter stuff under bay, or the Hunter Biden stuff under wraps. So there's a lot of stuff here that your taxpayer money has to go towards, and I'm supposed to care why again? Imagine,
because he's so photogenic. That's why.
But imagine World War II. We go to Winston Churchill and he does a whole spread in Vogue magazine. Think about that.
God.
Like imagine that. Imagine.
Can you imagine someone like Churchill actually doing something like that, where he goes and sits and gets his photos taken at pretty locations that are left not damaged by or ravaged by war?
Exactly.
It's so like baffling to me. Like, how is this a good move? Who is?
It's so against the narrative.
Yeah, it's against what they're trying to put out there. I mean, they should have kept with the heroic reports from, the images of him on the scene, except that it probably got too dangerous because the Russians were actually winning.
No, but those pictures were done before the war started. That's the problem. All those staged pictures were before the war started.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
That makes sense. So I mean, so we're both right. It was literally too dangerous because the only photos they had were from before the war. There was a guy on Twitter, and he's saying, for those who got into a tizzy about, the Vogue spread, which is reaching a very important underreached audience for the war in Ukraine. I'm like, the audience of Vogue is an important audience to keep this war effort going. Give me a break. But super important. But then he's posting a video of Russian soldiers making a eunuch out of a Ukrainian soldier that's going viral. And it's like, just because we got in a tizzy about the the Vogue photos doesn't make that less horrible. We're not saying that that's not bad. It is bad.
Yeah,
And in fact,
but they did the same thing to Russians.
yeah, soldiers
They
do
have video
awful
here.
things to the enemy in a time of war. I bet that there are Ukrainian soldiers who have done similar, if not worse, things to
They
Russians.
have video. They
Yeah.
have video of Ukrainians
I'm sure that they
doing it to
do.
Russians from this
You
war.
just don't see it all over Twitter with people pretending like the Vogue photo shoot was important somehow. You know?
Yeah.
It's. I'm not saying. We're not. Again, we're not pro Russia. But we're not pro Ukraine either. None of this is good. All of this is a smokescreen for most likely the corruption throughout Western society.
Yep.
I said from the very beginning, this is not something the United States needs to be part of. If it's actually happening, let it happen. Okay, Russia takes Ukraine. All right.
So
Is it good? No. Is it bad? No.
I was listening to Alex Jones on Michael Malice's podcast today,
What?
and he
Alex
had a
Jones, conspiracy theorist.
yeah, and he made a good point in that he believes. You know how we all thought, like the not we all thought. The narrative was Putin thought that he was going to be in and out, but the brave Ukrainians, resisted, and they're turning the tide, right? But in reality, it was the global elites who thought that they could provide the newer weapons of war to the Ukrainians, and that it would be over pretty quickly, because Russia doesn't have the ground war. They have like nuclear technology that's new. They've got new planes, but they don't have the ground war equipment that we have. But that hasn't been the case. All that new technology hasn't done much against the actual will of the Russian soldiers. Like, they're there to win this thing, Yep. And it's turning out. So now everything that we're seeing, including the media turning on Biden, all this stuff is to mitigate the damage that's going to be released. They're going to make Biden the scapegoat of all the corruption.
Yes.
In Ukraine, when really it was every single one of these curse
They're not
words.
going to make Biden the scapegoat for Ukraine. They're going to make him his incompetency the scapegoat. It's not going to be Biden per se. It's just going to be, well, he just didn't know exactly what was going on.
Well,
he couldn't understand.
Yeah, in terms of the details
That's
of his
why they're gonna
administration, for sure. But then, but also the corruption will, we know goes back well before he was president. To the time when he was vice president, and before. So, but they're all in on it. All these people are rich, super rich, from years of dedicated public service. Now, we know that they do insider trading legally. The only people in America who can legally insider trade, which should disgust you to your very core. It should piss you off so much. They steal from us every year through taxation, and then they throw us in jail if we get a little tidbit of information that might benefit us in the stock market. While they do the same exact thing all day, every day, sitting on their economic committees and crap, and they're the only ones who can legally do it. It's mind-boggling how there hasn't been more January 6ths. Real January 6ths. These people are as corrupt as can be. And we just sit back and we go, the system works. The system can work. And in truth, the system that the founding fathers laid down does work pretty well if we follow it, but we haven't been following it for 100 years.
Yep.
And and it requires a moral people, and we're not moral at all. So how can we think that the system works? It doesn't work. Those two requirements aren't there. The main linchpins of the system working are gone.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, dude. I'm with you.
Now, revival can happen. We pray that it does. So that would bring back one component. But then the other component requires us once we have that morality back in our culture, it will require us ousting these corrupt a-holes and returning the system back to the Constitution. And that's one of my final thoughts.
There you go. There you go.
It's a good final thought. That's a good final thought.
It is good. Let me give my quick one before I give it to Dusty, and then Matt's going to finish it home with a really amazing announcement. At what point, what lie are you going to finally wake up and realize they're lying to you? Like, normies to me in 2022 are like the girl that always gets cheated on by the same guy. Oh no, that's his cousin. No, yeah. I mean, I don't know how they were naked in the bed together. I think that he fell and slipped, and yeah. I know she's pregnant, but I don't think it's his. Yeah, I mean, he's really mean today, but I'm sure he'll be good next time. Yeah. I mean, like, we know that girl. Heck, we know that guy. We know, Cucky Buck, right? We know that guy. But she's so hot, even though she's, with every other guy in town. But she's so hot. We know. We know those people.
There's an Offspring song about it.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to the music.
Amen. But most of Americans are that way. You're all cucks. Like, you're all cheated on Debbie. And I laugh. I'm sitting here. I've been laughing for what? How long have we been on this podcast? 4 years? Laughing at people.
Getting there.
And literally watching people tell me how much of a conspiracy theorist I am. And all I keep doing is putting a quarter in the Alex Jones's right jar and laughing at you. Because you believe that lie, and you believe that lie, and you believe that lie. And the problem is, with 99% of the things that we're fed, even the sacred cows that we bow to now, you still believe the stories. You still believe them. Do you think that they just started lying to you 4 years ago or 6 years ago for Trump? Really? Do you think that's when they started? I got into a conversation with one of my buddies the other day, and he did not believe in Project Paperclip. Please look that up if you've never heard of that before. Like, I'm sitting there like, okay, time out on the field. Like, I'm like, bro, the Nazis didn't lose. You realize that, right? The Nazis did not lose. They just changed teams. Oh, we're good now. Put us in charge of NASA.
We have great scientists.
Look it up. Look this stuff up. Like, it's it's
whatever you do, don't go to Brazil.
I've been there.
Argentina.
Oh, I'm sorry, Argentina. Yeah.
No, you're good. But they didn't lose, man. And listen, there's people
I would
that are
fight back against that. It's not like Himmler and Mengele, defected to the U.S.
No. I mean, because
I'm not saying that the people that they brought were angels. They were just coerced into inventing the war machine for the Nazis. I'm not saying that, but
But my point is this: when did the lies start?
Yeah.
Like y'all pretend that lying just started when the internet became like viable. Do you know what I mean? Like everybody lied to you. Obama lied to you. Bush lied to you. Clinton lied before the internet was cool. And we caught him just because, he banged a really ugly broad. I don't know why he even did that one. I mean, if you're president, you could have pulled way more better than Monica Lewinsky, but that's another story for another time, you little cuck. But my point is this. Like, at what point in American history were they not lying to you? When?
Or at least in your lifetime.
Well, but even our grandparents' lifetime. In our great-grandparents' lifetime. Like, I can keep going back over and over again. And what's funny is it's what's the old phrase? Truth is openly mocked, then violently opposed, and then treated as common knowledge. Like, literally, all of you next year will pretend that you were against the vaccine the whole time, but you got it. You will all pretend that you knew there was going to be weird side effects, but you did it anyways. Come on. You're going to pretend that Fauci didn't tell you to lock down. You're going to pretend that Trump locked the entire country down. He didn't. You're going to pretend that Dr. Birx was looking out for us the whole time. You're going to pretend that you knew the Russian-Ukraine thing was silly the whole time. You're going to pretend. Because guess what? People hate being duped.
Well,
people hate being duped.
Just like people knew that BLM was,
Oh,
they
yeah,
were
I knew BLM was bullcrap.
I mean, I put my black square up. It's still in my timeline.
Yes. Exactly.
But I knew.
I knew it.
I knew.
I knew the weapons of mass destruction were bullcrap. But guess what, man? Washington Post, New York Times. I played that up the whole time. You're full of crap. You're all full of it. You're all full of it. Oh, I knew 9/11 was an inside job. You were so full of crap. And it's so obvious. And it's not just modern history. Go back, do research on any of the institutions, the sacred cows that they got out there for you. Definitely don't look up Gulf of Tonkin. That'll mess with you. Don't look in your precious NASA. That'll mess with you a little bit too. Don't look up all the things that you think are true. The polio vaccine stuff, the Tuskegee experiments, which magically black people remember that one, but it is what it is. Like, look this stuff up. At what point do you think that they started not lying to you? You've been lied to since the garden. Wake the F up. And guess what? I'm going to laugh at you every single time. And I'm going to mock you, and then I'm going to hug you and say it happens to all of us. We all had that girlfriend that we thought loved us so much, but she was cheating on the side. It even happened to me, bro. I've been there, dog. I've been there. But eventually we grow up and we wake up. And I pray that you guys do that. That's my final thought. Hit him with him, Dusty. Hit it.
So my final thought is this. If you think the Republicans are going to be your saving grace, they're not. If you think the Democrats are going to be your saving grace, I hate to tell you this, they're a worse choice. The Republicans are pretty much Democrats, just with another label. They talk a big game, talk about how they're going to cut taxes and whatnot, and sometimes they do. Sometimes they actually do it. But more often than not, they are beta. The moment they get into office, they are beta. They get whooped, they get slapped, they get hit, and all of a sudden, they're no longer helping you. They're helping their fellow Democrats pass the next spending bill.
The media is being mean to me.
Oh, darn, we didn't elect you to be a popularity contest. We elected you to do a job. That job is to protect our civil liberties. Now, I'm all for it. What Jefferson said. Jefferson said, John Adams said, the office of the Senate and the House should not be paid positions. The president should not be a paid position. It should be like jury duty. You get paid, it's not much. but it's a civil duty. That's exactly what it should be. That's how it should be treated, as a civil duty. You're there to do a job. Do the best job you can, then get out. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Politicians are like diapers. They get filled up with the same thing, and they need to be changed just as often. Get them out of office. They're not there to make millions upon millions of dollars. Name me a single senator that isn't worth over $1 million. How did they get that money? I can tell you it's not from their paychecks. So, if you think the Republicans are going to come in and save you, they're not. If you think the Democrats are going to save you, they're not.
They're just going to kill you faster. Jab up.
They're just going to destroy America faster. That's it.
Yeah.
The only thing
100%.
Republicans are going to do is do it a little bit more slowly.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you.
Fiscally, this country is just screwed up royally, and it's going to take a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and it's going to take generations to get us back on track. And I don't think America wants to go through that in order to come out the other side. So that's my final thought.
Like it. Matt, we have really sad news, man. Super sad news.
We got bad news and we got good news. So
Start
bad
with the
news
bad news.
is this is the last episode of Plausible Foolishness.
What?
Yep.
Yeah.
What?
Last episode.
What?
Very
What?
last episode of Plausible Foolishness.
Oh my.
No more plausible foolishness. That's it. This is it.
No.
Done. That show's done.
But the good news, though, the good news is that we'd like to invite you to watch or listen to our new podcast called Kingsplaining, which will be same as the old podcast.
Kingsplaining.
Ultimately, we're just changing the name, trying to spice it up, see if we can't pull more eyes by change. Ultimately, Plausible Foolishness. It's funny if you watched us enough, you get it. But the average person just encountering it for the first time isn't really going to get it. But Kingsplaining should draw more eyes and make people laugh and hopefully make them intrigued. Because it makes us all laugh. And so the show's going to get more kingly. We're going to do more pop culture.
JBN was rattled for a second. JBN was rattled.
Yes.
For a second, he was rattled. He's like, wait a minute, bro. Wait a minute, dog.
Yes.
Wait, what?
And so we're gonna, the artwork's gonna stay the same. The people are gonna stay the same. We're gonna add more pop culture in because we just like talking about it. And no, the episode count is not going to restart because that's how I keep track of how long we've been at this.
Explain.
So Kingsplaining episode number 1 will be Kingsplaining episode 272.
72. Amen.
But we're excited about the name change, and we hope it takes us to the next step, and we hope you guys join us for that ride and help us take this rocket ship to the moon. On that note, you have been watching. Say that again.
I mean, Plausible Foolishness was phase 1. I mean, we're going into phase 2 here. We're going to Dragon Ball Z land, okay? We're not Dragon Ball anymore. We're Dragon Ball Z, okay? And then we get a little wiser, little slicker. We'll be Dragon Ball Super. You know what I mean? So we're just getting better.
And then somebody hits Bulma and you go nuts.
It's true.
That's great. All right. On that note, you have been watching Plausible Foolishness, the home of the Rube Empire, where the people are free, the taxes are voluntary, and we serve freshly roasted liberal logic every Thursday right here at 7:30 p.m. right here on twitch.tv/Plausible Foolishness, YouTube, Facebook Live, anywhere you can get a podcast. And thank you for subscribing and leaving reviews on the podcast app of your choice. Also, you can find us on social media, on Truth Social and Twitter. Both of those are at Kingsplaining now already. So peace out. God bless. See you next week.
Time to Kingsplain. Yeah.